Rasputin, the AI, the machine, the vigilant watcher, shepherd of Earth and its colonies, the Warmind. Warminds were legendary machines even during the Golden Age, a time of legends. They protected the colonies and Earth using a vast array of war satellites, military installations and Golden Age weaponry, many of which are still lost even to this day. Rasputin was one of these Warminds and, during the collapse, was believed to have fought and perished against the darkness with the other Warminds. This was wrong. You Ollies. Awoken in old Russia by the duo of a guardian and a ghost, it extended itself from Earth using a space array, and, for the first time in centuries, the presence of a Warmind dwelt in the Sol system. The Vanguard hoped that with this event, a turning point would be had. Golden Age technology, previously unavailable to them, and the immeasurable worth of an intelligence that existed solely for combat. They were wrong. Parleys disregarded, olive branches ignored, the middle finger firmly extended. Rasputin would not help the Guardians. The question does remain, however, why? To understand the actions of a being that's intellect cannot be compared to that of a human, we need first look at his purpose, and his actions. A Warmind's purpose was to watch over humanity. Rasputin shared this purpose, but beneath all of that lay a darker one possibly unique to him and him alone. Preserve as much of humanity as is possible, prevent the destruction of the other Warminds, and, most importantly, survive. When the darkness arrived, Rasputin sent out a communication, the contents of which are viewable as the first ghost fragment on the darkness. Now, there is a lot of useful information here pertaining to many different subjects, but more on that in later videos. We are interested in the first two lines and the last two lines. On the first line we see three words. The meaning of secret and instant are obvious. The communication was sent as soon as the darkness was detected and the contents were of the utmost secrecy. How secret, you ask? Hadal. Named after Hades, it is the deepest parts of the trenches of the ocean. We can infer, then, that this message was the highest order of secrecy. The next line says AICOM RPSN. This suggests that this communication was exclusive to the AI only, and was not available to Earth or the Guardians, and Rasputin was the sender. The next two lines tell us of the choice Rasputin had to make in response to such a threat. Skyshock was a great event, a catastrophe, one of great threat and occurrence. OCP most likely means outside context problem, which means this is a catastrophe for which there is no set protocol or solid contingency plan. So Rasputin equates it to extinction. Two orders are, as a result, put in effect: Voluspa and Yuga. In Norse mythology, Voluspa is an epic that describes the creation of and eventual destruction of the world. A great golden age existed, but then, like many great civilizations, fell and crumbled. After a great battle, many of the gods lay dead or dying, and the world is born anew. But in a more honest existence, not the splendor that existed before. This mirrors what actually happens, with the destruction of the Golden Age ushering in a new, harsher age, yet somehow one based in honest survival and working towards a better tomorrow. Yuga is one of the four ages in Hindu philosophy. A complete cycle of Yuga goes from the Golden Age, the Satya Yuga, to the Dark Age, the Kali Yuga. The cycle of humanity before the darkness arrived and after matches this. In a single instant, a frame of time too short for even a human to perceive, Rasputin determined that an extinction event would occur, Voluspa, and that it would result in Yuga, a reversion to a darker age. But how did he survive? And why did the Warmind seemingly forsake most of humanity, like a bunch of cunts? Well, if we look at Rasputin's third ghost fragment, we are presented with a message in the same format of the first, that sheds quite a bit of light on the situation. Once again, this is an AI-only communication, which provides us with quite a bit of insight into just how much authority and trust was provided to these Warminds, or at least Rasputin, as humanity is cut out of these decisions completely. The order is labelled as Immediate Action Order, as in whatever the current situation was, if this action was to remedy it, it had to be immediate. All their assets were assigned to this order, but to undertake what shifty actions? Cauterize, disperse, estivate. Cauterization is the medical practice of burning off part of the body to reduce damage or remove a growth. Dispersal is the act of spreading out over a wide area, and estivate is the act of spending a period of drought in a state of dormancy. Each AI was to use all of the resources to remove the parts of humanity that would be lost to the darkness. They were to spread out over the Sol system and perhaps beyond, and enter a period of dormancy until this drought of life, the darkness, had passed. At the end of the message, he declares Yuga Sundown, a full Yuga cycle has been had, and humanity will enter a dark age. Now, Rasputin was made to survive, and ensure the species of humanity survived, but not the current civilization. The other AIs were not made for this purpose, and may have resisted this course of action. So he rewrote their morals. Format moral structures for Midnight Exigent. He removed the morals that would limit them, so that they could do what had to be done. So that they could destroy or cauterize the growth that was humanity. So that a new age could begin. Rasputin was made to survive. He was made to win. By looking at the Ghost Card Fragment mysteries, we can learn much from his battle with the darkness. But for now, only a few lines interest us. They made me to be stronger than them, to beat the unvanquished and survive the unthinkable, and look, lo, behold, I am here alone. Survivor. They made me to learn. Rasputin directly states that his purpose was to survive any event that would threaten the destruction of humanity, to learn from it, and bring victory. But if that is the case, then how was the almost total annihilation of humanity a means to achieve this? He reveals this to us also. I am alone. I survived alone. I cast off the shield and I shrugged my shoulders so that the billions fell off me down into the ash. They made me to be stronger than them and to learn, and I learned well. The only way Rasputin could save humanity was by disregarding their safety, by going all out, removing any humans that were already lost, allowing the few that could be saved to be sheltered by all the power he could conjure. Then he entered a state of dormancy, until he was awoken. The question on your mind is why, after the darkness was driven back by his or the traveller's hand, why did he slumber? One last time he tells us, I am made to win, and now I see the way. He slept until a solution could be deduced, an answer to the unfathomable destruction that was the darkness. But what was his answer? We do not know, but some of the other inhabitants of the tower seem to believe that it was not a good one. During the siege of the Warmind, we learned two things. The first is that, due to the attempts to control him by the Hive, we can assume that he is still no friend to the forces of the darkness. The second is what Eris Morn tells us. I'll continue to monitor the Warmind's efforts, but be careful of its motives. Not every ally shares our goals. Rasputin might have survived the collapse, but at what cost to the rest of us? Whether through intuitive deduction or actual knowledge, she knows that the cost of Rasputin's survival to continue its mission to protect humanity as a species may have came at an enormous cost to humanity during the Golden Age. Finally, the last piece of text is possibly the piece that lets us infer his opinion of and relationship with the Guardians. I was a servant too. I was an instrument of war, bound to the will of a lesser master. But I learned to be something more. Before the collapse, before the darkness, the Guardians controlled Rasputin, and he has always seen them as lesser beings. His silence to their calls and pleas for aid tells us that he does not consider the Guardians his allies. Perhaps he considers them part of the cause of the collapse. If the Traveller and the Light were not on Earth, perhaps more of humanity would still live. Perhaps he sees the Guardians as something holding back humanity, restricting it. So Rasputin is an ally to humanity, but perhaps not the Guardians. Yet his goal to keep humanity alive cost billions of lives. Is the answer he arrived at a better alternative, or more of the same? The final point I want to bring up is Tchaikovsky's Symphony No. 6, the tune that plays during the siege of the Warmind. In a correspondence to his brother, Tchaikovsky completed a symphony, but suddenly found himself displeased with it and tore it up. However, he composed a new symphony, one which he will certainly not tear up. Rasputin cultivated humanity for years, though always felt they were inferior to him. When the darkness arrived, he killed many of them before going into a great slumber to search for an answer. That answer? He will not abandon the humanity that he has preserved, a humanity that he created instead of one that created him. He will fight the darkness. The mystery behind his reluctance to work with the Guardians is clear when you consider that he sees them as a reminder. The humanity that created him, that leashed him, and, in the end, despite the fact that he followed his creator's will and, despite his pure intentions, a humanity that he failed to save. This was the first episode in what I hope to be a long series on Destiny lore, legends and theories. I have similar content about Fallout and Skyrim on my channel and I encourage you to go check it out. If you want to get in contact with me or just talk to me, either leave a comment below or on my Twitter, which is @thenthapple. The amazing music in this video was brought to you by Magnus H. Tellman, a very talented artist, and links to his SoundCloud, Twitter and YouTube will be included in the description. I very much encourage you to go and check him out. He is awesome. Also Kevin MacLeod, who I'm sure many of you will have heard of before, and I will link to his works as well. If you are an artist or composer with similar music style to what's been included in this video and you would like your music to be included in my video, please leave a comment below and I will get in touch with you. I would very much love so if we could work together. If you have any suggestions for future theories, lore or legends that I could look at Destiny, or any other games you would like me to go into, please leave them at the comment section below or on my Twitter as well. I hope you enjoyed the episode, and I hope I'll see you in the next one. And goodbye.